Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough of the Buffalo Wings. And it is time to play ball because it is opening day of the 2039 season. We are on the road in Montreal, going up against Dan Kenny today. But if you look at our 5-game schedule, a lot of familiar names on the docket as far as our opposing pitchers. Tomorrow we'll be facing Jorge Carrillo, who left our team as a free agent a couple years ago after coming up through our system. Wednesday we'll be facing Isidro Ochoa. Had been our 5th starter the past few years. We let him move on to Atlanta this offseason in a trade. And then we'll also be facing Drake Purvis, who was one of the cornerstones of the trade that led us to get our ace, Alexis Barajas, from the Miami Marlins. So a lot of familiar names and a lot of good pitchers that we'll be facing early in this 2039 season. As is our custom in this series, we're going to play out Game 1 today. And then we'll move on to the early weeks of the season in our next episode. A couple things to touch on before we get going. 3 top 40 prospects in our system. Juan Toledo, the best prospect in our system, going to be at the International Complex this year. He is the international free agent signing of ours from a couple of months ago that we had to put every penny we had into bringing on board, but think he could potentially be a very interesting bat for us for the future. Eric Barbarito is finally going to be an everyday major leaguer for us this year. He was our first-round pick in 2033, 24 years old now. Spent most of the last 2 years in AAA Albany, did begin 2037 in AA Utica, and did finish up last season on the Major League roster for us. Wasn't particularly effective, but he does not have anything left to prove in AAA, and he is a much more cost-effective version of Ochoa to be our number 5 starter. And then the final top 40 prospect we have is Guadalupe Amezcua, who was a scouting discovery of ours in 2033. He's listed as the number 39 prospect in baseball. This is a guy that, despite the fact he had consistently struggled in rookie ball, we finally promoted to A ball last year. Did not do much at all in single A marathon. We're going to start him in the FSL again this year. The hope is to ultimately at least promote him to high A ball before the end of this year. Looking at his potential ratings and looking at his performance over the course of his minor league career, hard to see why he's still the number 39 prospect in baseball. Hoping that maybe there's something going on that we can't see in the ratings. Still is a guy who we think can be pretty versatile defensively down the line, but he's clearly going to need to learn how to hit and to learn to strike out less than half of his time at the plate if he's ever going to have a major league career. I know some of you have been encouraging us to trade him in recent years, and it's something we have considered more regularly in the last season or so. Haven't been able to extract the value that we'd like. Now, admittedly, if he ends up having no value and not being a major leaguer, there's certainly an argument to be made to get what we can out of him now. But at this point, I'm hoping against hope that he's just a late bloomer and he still may have some value for us, particularly because at that middle infield position, we're getting, I don't want to say long in the tooth, but Seifu is 34. Steve Anderson's starting to make a lot of money. Tim Hull now in his 30s. Joe Edwards now in his 30s. And Tegan Tiley is a relative youngster. So feel like there could definitely be an opportunity for Amezcua as a starting infielder or certainly a utility guy over the next couple of years if he holds up his end of the bargain and continues developing. Taking a look at our roster for this new season, a lot of familiar names among the everyday players. The only new additions are Jorge Romero, who we picked up in the Rule 5 draft from the Yankees, going to be a 4th or 5th outfielder for us this year. And then Juan Romero, who was the centerpiece of that trade I mentioned where we shipped Ochoa to the Braves. Guy who has put up a 125 and 130 WRC plus his first 2 years in the majors with Atlanta. Does have some home run pop in the bat. And our hope is that he will become one of the cornerstone hitters in our lineup. You can see he's batting cleanup for us against right-handed pitching, and he's in the 3-hole against left-handed pitching. So we've got big hopes for him. Other than that, it's all familiar names among our everyday players. Pretty similar among our pitchers. The top 4 in the rotation are all the same as they have been. Eric Barbarito, as we talked about, is going to get the opportunity to be our new number 5 starter, and hopefully he's someone who can move up in the rotation over time. Nate Ruckel is our new closer, taking over for the traitorous Canadian Lorne Walborn. So not closer, he's our new stopper. And then Juan Puente is a Rule 5 acquisition who ended up making the team. And David Espinoza is a guy who's been up and down between Albany and the big club in Buffalo the last few years. Out of options finally, so that helped him make the team as a player out of camp for the first time in his career. So not a ton of turnover this past offseason. When we look at the preseason predictions, still pretty favorable. Expected to be tied for the National League East title with the Atlanta Braves, at least in this simulation. That would be an 8th consecutive division title for the Wings and a 12th consecutive playoff appearance if we are able to make that potential reality come true. And to answer a question from Stanley Rosella to the last episode, I did take a look at waivers coming out of spring training. Didn't end up seeing anyone that was particularly interesting. Looking at the waiver wire right now, Robbie Patton, first baseman, is the highest potential guy out there. Also has some positive personality traits and certainly some home run pop in his bat. Another one of these guys who's all bat, though, doesn't bring much fielding-wise, doesn't bring much on the base paths, is a good personality, and he is durable. He's a guy who's never played in the majors. I don't know exactly who I'd get rid of on the Major League roster to keep him up. I guess there's an argument to be made to just try to weasel him into our organization. He was kind of the most interesting guy, I thought, a few days ago, and he's still on the market today. So I guess there is maybe an argument to be made to go ahead and claim him. I guess I'll claim him, but I am honestly just going to try to stash him in AAA if we pick him up. But other than that, to answer the question, not really too much that I found all that interesting in waivers this year. I'm pretty happy with the way our 26-man roster looks. And as we talked about towards the end of the last episode, had some pretty difficult decisions with the last couple pitchers and the last couple position players the way it was. So I feel good about this team. And now it's time to see what they can do on the field, at least here on April 4th. And Montreal was a team that was pretty close to us in the standings last year for much of the season, although we ended up winning the NL East by a lot. But a rare situation when we do our team comparison where Montreal's got a lot of positions where they are viewed as being better than us. Looks like they signed Michael Harris II, who is a multiple-time MVP award winner and a ton of awards over the course of his career. I see 5-time MVP, Rookie of the Year, 10 Silver Sluggers, 8 Gold Gloves, 13-time All-Star. He's had a really incredible career, and he is now a member of the Expos, so going to be interesting to see how we fight off the Expos in the Braves most likely this season to hopefully win that 8th consecutive National League East title. And we are going to be, as we talked about, on the road here in Montreal So we are going to be able to get things started with our likely future Hall of Famer, Deshaun Seifu, leading things off. And the 2039 baseball season for our Buffalo Wings is getting underway here in Canada. Seifu digs in with a 1-0 count, and he grounds out to short, 6-2-3, one away. Juan Estrada, another excellent contact hitter, up with a 2-1 count, and Estrada, the first hit of the season for the Buffalo Wings, a little single to short center field. Mike Heiner, the left-handed hitter, up against Kenny, and he goes down swinging for the second out of the inning. And now Juan Romero making his debut in the middle of the order for the Buffalo Wings here. And he draws a walk, so runners on first and second for Mike Broaden. Broaden had a kind of a disappointing year for us last year. His 86 ribbies were third on the team, but only 10 home runs and a 260 average. We're hoping he would provide a little more offense than that. And he draws a walk here with a full count to load up the bases for Joe Gallagher. And Gallagher is a guy who's come up through our farm system, hit 37 and 33 home runs with 109 and 110 ribbies his 2 seasons in the majors. He is a guy who is going to be making more money next year. This is his final year making the major league minimum. He doesn't do anything well except hit home runs. He strikes out a lot, doesn't hit for a great average, doesn't have a lot of speed, is a bad influence in the clubhouse, and he's not a very good fielder, but that bat has still been valuable to us as a player making the minimum, and we'll see what he can do here, swinging away with bases loaded in the first inning of the season. 2-2 count, and he goes down, doesn't even go down swinging, he goes down looking to end the inning. And our ace, Alexis Barajas, coming off of an 18-9 year with a 3.63 ERA, 209 strikeouts, going after their new leadoff hitter, Michael Harris II. And Michael Harris II starts his Montreal career off with a single. We'll throw over, try to keep Harris close. Go after Brad Hayden, and we struck him out for the first out of the inning. Now Irving Barunda, excellent player. I believe he was the National League most valuable player last season. Certainly a very strong profile with an 80 contact and 70 home run power rating against right-handed pitching. So we'll go after the dangerous Barunda. Walked him. Can't necessarily complain about that because I think we'd much rather go after Josh Connors. We're going to put the infield back at double play depth here and hopefully get out of this inning. Got a ball, 4-6, 2-3, and we are out of the inning. So heading to the top of the second, Steve Anderson, shortstop up, 1-2 count to Anderson, and he goes down swinging. Joe Edwards, another guy who could be in his final year with us, and Edwards gives that one a ride to center field, but a fly out to Michael Harris II for the second out of the inning. And now our number 9 hitter, the catcher, Andres Big Baby Medina, strikes out to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down, unfortunately, for our Buffalo Wings there in the top of the second. We're going after numbers 5, 6, and 7 this inning. Ramirez, Heragui, and Robles for the Expos. One away with the pop-up to short right center, and Juan Estrada, second batter up, and looks like that one is going to go into the gap, likely extra base hit. A double for Yeragui. So a runner in scoring position for Montreal here. We will go after Ishmael Robles. And he flies out to right field. Runner unable to tag. So 2 outs now with the runner on second. And now we're near the bottom of their batting order. Pengel Birons does not look like a big-time hitter. Hopefully we can get him out. And we do get him to ground out 4-3 to end the inning. Diving stop by Seifu to get us out of the inning. Seifu, after making that nice play at second, leading off here in the top of the third. 0-2 count to Deshawn. And he goes down looking. Juan Estrada up, 3-1 count to Estrada. He's good at drawing walks, and that's exactly what he does. Mike Heiner now up. Heiner grounds it 4-6 to 3. So the inning is over, and still no score as we head to the bottom of the third here in Montreal. Shortstop Andy Bradshaw, the number 9 hitter, up. Hopefully we can get him out. Grounds it down to third. Edwards makes the throw over to Heiner for the first out of the inning. Michael Harris now up for the second time. And he grounds it down to first. Kind of a erratic throw there, but 3-1 with Barajas covering. We make the play. And now Brad Hayden up with 2 outs. And Brad Hayden flies out to center field to end the inning. So the pitchers are settling in nicely here at the end of 3. No score in Montreal. Leading off for us, the newcomer Juan Romero, a 1-2 count to Romero, and he strikes out on a inside pitch that would have been a ball. Mike Broaden now up, a 1-2 count to Broaden, and he goes down looking. Joe Gallagher up with an 0-2 count on him. And he at least makes contact, but that should be the third out of the inning and is the third out of the inning. So the pitcher's sailing along here. Let's see if Barajas can match Kenny with a 1-2-3 inning here. Barajas against the dangerous Irving Barunda, full count to Barunda, and he gets him on strikes. Now Josh Connor's up with 1 out. And looks like that's going to drop through for the third hit of the day for Montreal. So they've got a runner on board here in the bottom of the 4th. Connor's not a lot of speed. We'll go right after the batter Ramirez. Looks like a passed ball on Big Baby Medina, unfortunately. So that'll move a runner into scoring position for Ramirez. 2-1 count. And a little flare out to right field. Play is easily made. The runner can't advance. So 2 away now, and we'll go after Wilson Haragui. 0-2 count. And he goes down looking. So get out of the inning here. And at the end of 4, still a scoreless tie. Buffalo with just the 1 hit. Montreal has picked up 3 hits. Dan Kenny's been excellent for the Expos, 64 pitches, 7 strikeouts in 4 innings, allowing just that 1 hit, although he has walked 3. We'll see if our bottom of the order can do better than their bottom of the order here in the 5th inning. Kenny going against Steve Anderson, and 8th strikeout of the day for Dan Kenny. Joe Edwards now up, 0-2 count on him. Strikeout number 9. Kenny is dealing. Andres Big Baby Medina, a 1-2 count to him. And the side goes down swinging here. Kenny up to 10 strikeouts through 5 innings. So Montreal playing very well. Alexis Barajas pitching pretty well for us also. He's thrown just 50 pitches through the first 4 innings, has 3 strikeouts, has allowed those 3 hits and walked 1. Going after 7, 8, and 9 here. Hopefully he can be as good as Kenny was against our team. Grounder down to third. Edwards to Heiner for the first out of the inning. Pengel Berons, full count to him. And he flies out to left. So 2 away now, facing the number 9 hitter, Andy Bradshaw. And he grounds it to Edwards, over to Heiner for the final out of the inning. So a 1-2-3 inning for Barajas, not as impressive as the 3 strikeouts that Kenny picked up. But after 5 innings, we are still all tied up, 0-0. And here in the top of the 6th, Deshaun Seifu will be leading off for our Buffalo Wings. 1-1 count to Seifu, and Seifu with his first hit of the season. And now time to have some fun. Their catcher Robles does have an excellent arm, but Deshaun Seifu has led the National League in steals for 11 consecutive years. With 932 as this season begins, he's only 6 away from tying Lou Brock for number 2 all time, and 68 away from joining Ricky Henderson in the 1,000 steal club. Both of those things likely to happen this year. We're going to go ahead and take a pitch, see if they might be pitching out. And we do take ball 1. And now we're going to go strength against strength with Robles' great arm, and we are gunned down. So ball 2, got aggressive. We're always aggressive with Seifu, and it may have cost us there. 2-0 count now to Estrada, and he ends up going down looking. 11 strikeouts for Kenny. Mike Heiner now up, 2-2 count, and Heiner strikes out. So Dan Kenny continues to deal. We may have helped him running ourselves out of that inning, but with the way he's been striking out just about everybody, got to try to generate a run somehow. We're now facing the top of their order, 65 pitches from Barajas, so it's conceivable this could be his last inning. 1-0 count to Michael Harris the second, grounded down to Heiner. Heiner boots it. Looks like he had the ball and he was standing there in front of the baseline, but unable to make a tag. So Harris reaches on an error. We are going to go ahead and pitch to Hayden, and he flies out to right field. Irving Barunda up. We're going to try to pitch around Barunda, and he ends up flying out to center field for the second out of the inning. And now facing Josh Connors, we'll see if Barajas can get out of this situation here. 2-1 count, and he crushes that one to right field. So we pitched around Barunda, but we tried going after the cleanup hitter with 2 outs, and he made us pay. The first big blow of the game for the Montreal Expos gives them a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the 6th. 2-2 count to Ramirez, and he goes down to end the inning. 4th strikeout for Barajas, but the Expos have taken a 2-0 lead on our team. And the Expos make the call to the bullpen to Bobby Austin, despite the great performance that they got from Dan Kenny. So Juan Romero up for us with a full count, leading off here in the top of the 7th. And Romero strikes out. So new pitcher, same result. Mike Broaden up, 2-1 count to Broaden. And he finally comes through. Looks like that's going to be a double down the third base line for Mike Broaden. So we've got a runner into scoring position, which is a rare event for our Buffalo Wings today. Joe Gallagher now up with a runner on second. And Gallagher grounds it down to third. The runner doesn't move over, so 2 away for Steve Anderson. 1-2 count to the shortstop, and he strikes out. So a lot of strikeouts today from our Buffalo Wings against this Montreal pitching staff, heading to the 7th inning stretch, and the Expos still up 2-0. Barajas, 82 pitches. We'll still let him stay in here. It's not an insane total yet. Could have a relatively short leash, especially giving up that leadoff double, but didn't view an 82-pitch outing as exceptionally dangerous, but certainly now with a runner on second. If he can't get Robles here, that will probably be his last batter of the day. 1-2 count to Robles, and grounds out 5-3, which we've been saying a lot today. So the first out of the inning, and now he's got the bottom of the order with Pengel Berons. Berons grounds out to first. The runner does move to third. So a runner on third with 2 outs, 96 pitches here for Barajas. He is in the red zone now. Would love to get him out of the inning, but it's still only a 2-0 game. Got a bunch of lefties and switch hitters coming up. It is game 1 of the year, though, so we can certainly afford to use our bullpen a little bit. And we are going to make a call to the bullpen for Mike Waters. Probably going to be a one-batter guy for us here in the bottom of the 7th. But Mike Waters going up against Andy Bradshaw here with the lefties coming up. We're basically just asking him to get this one out. And he does not come through. Single up the middle, so may have outthought that one, but with the fact that Barajas seemed to be tiring a bit, thought it was the right move to get him out. With that move made, though, we're going to go to a left-hander after our friend Waters did not do the job, and we are going to go to David Espinoza, the young left-handed pitcher, to hopefully get Michael Harris the second here now. And Harris drives that one to left field, but the play made near the warning track by Ramiro. Another run for the Expos, though, and our Buffalo Wings are down 3-0 as we head into the top of the 8th. Joe Edwards leading off for us against Bobby Austin. Another strikeout by our Buffalo Wings. Andres Medina, who's also very good at striking out. 2-2 count to Medina. And he strikes out as well. And Seifu now not leading off, but batting for the 4th time this year. He does draw a walk. We're going to try to get him into scoring position. We're just going to run. It looks like they were throwing over. We'll have Estrada take a pitch. Takes a strike right down the middle. Going to try to steal now. And Seifu is in there, and the ball gets away into the outfield. So Seifu doing his best Ricky Henderson impression, moving from first base to third base. So now a 1-1 count to Estrada with a runner on third in the form of Seifu. And now we've got a chance to hopefully at least push our first run of the day across here. Estrada grounds it to first. The run does come in, though. Actually, no, that was the 3rd out of the inning, so the run does not come in. So tried to get something going there with 2 outs and Seifu. Unfortunately, Estrada did not come through. And we're heading to the bottom of the 8th, still down 3-0. Espinoza still on the mound. Switch hitter Magana up for the Expos. And that looks like a big old can of corn. Play made by Steve Anderson. 1 away. Going after Irving Barunda now, the left-handed batter. And Barunda singles to right field. Josh Connors, another left-handed hitter, up. And Connors flies out to center field for the second out of the inning. Only had 14 pitches from Espinosa now. Hopefully he can get out of this with Ramirez here. Go after Alfredo Ramirez. Ramirez gives it a ride to center field, but we are out there to make the play with Mike Broughton. So we hold Montreal at 3. Finally, don't let them score here for a third consecutive inning. But we are now heading to the top of the ninth and last licks potentially for our Buffalo Wings. Mike Heiner leading off against the right-handed pitcher Chris Schultz, their closer, who had 47 saves for Montreal a year ago. 2-2 count to Heiner. And Heiner gives that one a ride. Mike Heiner finally gets the Buffalo Wings on the board with a solo home run. Heiner is a guy who was our first-round draft pick many years ago out of college. We signed him to a long-term contract before he ever played in the majors, and he's had a pretty productive career for us. A good, solid major leaguer. Not a superstar, but one of the better bats in our lineup. And Heiner hopefully getting something going for us here with the solo home run to lead things off. Juan Romero, this would be a great time for Ramiro's first hit as a Buffalo Wing. And he comes through. Single down to out to left field, and runner on first now with the left-handed hitting Mike Broughton coming up against Schultz. So generating a little bit of offense here in the bottom of the ninth, or the top of the ninth. Hopefully it's not too little too late. Full count to Broughton, and Broughton pops that one up to third base for the first out of the inning. Joe Gallagher now up, and Gallagher is a guy who can hit the ball out of the park. Full count to Gallagher, and he grounds out 6-4 to 3. The game is over, and our Buffalo Wings lose 3-1 here on opening day to the Montreal Expos. Not a ton of offense, just those 5 hits. The first 5 guys in our batting order are the guys who ended up with the hits. Seifu, Estrada, Heiner, Romero, and Broughton. Looking at Montreal, they got a couple hits from Connors, including that big 2-run homer and a couple hits from Heragui. Barajas was certainly respectable. Just the 1 earned run over 6 2/3 innings. So that error by Heiner certainly did not help us. Seifu 1 for 2 on the year, running against the strong defensive catcher Ishmael Robles. Waters allowed the only batter he faced to get a hit, but then Espinosa came on and did a good job. Not surprisingly, Dan Kenny, the player of the game, 12 strikeouts and just 2 hits allowed in 6 innings. They also got 4 strikeouts from Austin before we did do a little bit of damage against Schultz there in the 9th, although he still got the save. But going to be tough to generate a lot of offense when your team is striking out 16 times, which is what our Buffalo Wings did today. Heiner, Romero, and Edwards all struck out twice, and Anderson and Medina struck out 3 times each, and everyone in the lineup struck out at least once. So was not the most impressive offensive performance from our Buffalo Wings here on opening day, as we continue some of the offensive struggles that we experienced in the playoffs last year when we were swept in the division series 3-0. And with the game now in the books, the 2039 season is underway. Our Buffalo Wings are already a game behind the Nats, the Phillies, the Expos, and the Braves here in the National League East. And we'll find out how the early stages of this season go in our next episode. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.